Aloha and welcome back to the Kupuna Connections television series. I'm Colin Hayashida with the St. Francis Healthcare System of Hawaii. The program brings you a variety of topics having to do with elder care and active aging. And today we have the great opportunity to talk to Jill Martinez of Luna Little Home and Daycare with regards to stretching and flexibility. Two topics that oftentimes is not related to, we do not normally think about as exercise, but they're very important. So welcome, Jill.
Thank you.
So Jill, tell us a little bit about who you are.
My name is Jill Martinez, as you mentioned. I am a certified recreation therapist. A lot of my work has been done in senior activities, of course, to include exercise. So I'm very thankful to be here today talking about stretching as a means of exercise and how, we can all benefit from stretching.
Okay. Well, the population of older adults is continuing to grow at a very rapid clip, of course, that we all are very much aware of. And we wanted to talk about, this whole program is on Kupuna Connections, is trying to begin this whole focus around active aging or successful aging. And part of this has to do with various forms of fitness, and so physical fitness is one of this, and of course you got financial fitness and social fitness and nutritional fitness, medical fitness, or whatever. But we're talking about physical fitness today. But when you talk about physical fitness, we're thinking in terms of exercise oftentimes, and then exercise, I guess, we think of as perhaps endurance in terms of building muscles, being fit, or building our cardio capacity in terms of our heart. And sometimes, of course, also, maybe not as frequently, we talk about exercise is balance. But exercise is stretching is something that's not normally thought of as exercise. Tell us something about why stretching is exercise.
I think a lot of times people think that, stretching, because it doesn't produce as many visible benefits as weightlifting would, you won't see the muscle mass growing.
Right.
People don't think that it is a valuable form of exercise, but we all know that, when we stretch, it like exercise, it can really help to improve our muscle flexibility, our range of motion, and, just overall health and fitness. And I think stretching also, like exercise, has the same values in that, when we stretch, we feel better. We have that, I often say it's a hurting sore, but it's actually like a really good pain. So, through that, I see the value of stretching, because it's like, oh yeah, it's really sore, but it's really helping, because then I feel good after I get that initial sore. Ouch. But, it really does feel good after to kind of stretch your muscles, lengthen those muscles, kind of just, I think overall, give the muscles more, movement, range of motion in our just overall body. And, you can stretch from head to toe virtually. And, there's a lot of stretches. We'll talk about some later, but
normally don't think about doing something that is going to cause pain as something that's good for you.
Right. Yeah. But in stretching sense, it kind of is, because that pain should be a sign, not necessarily that it's a bad thing, but it's a good thing, right? We all hear the saying, no pain, no gain. Yeah. Move it or lose it. It's all interrelated in that, stretching in itself, is a valuable form of exercise, because not only do we need to have that cardiovascular fitness, we need to up our heart rate, to beat so fast, to get our heart rate working above normal, but we also need to stretch, to get those muscles, flexible, so we can move better.
Yeah. Well, actually, when the first thing you do in the morning is you stretch.
Yes.
You stretch, it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah. That is so true.
So perhaps this is your body telling you that it needs that.
Right.
Yeah. So you mentioned a few of these, but perhaps you can kind of get into some of the benefits of stretching. Tell us some of what this is.
Yeah, stretching when we stretch, you know, our stretching is allowing our body to send more oxygen to our brain, and that's how it really helps our mood. When you have more oxygen flowing to your brain, you know, your blood is moving a lot smoother, you do feel much better. Stretching also improves your flexibility. So, you know, many of us, you know, we can move our arms and legs better. You know, day-to-day activities become much easier, whether it be preparing a meal, you know, bending over to tie our shoes, or just getting dressed in the morning. You know, when we stretch and our body is more flexible, we can perform those activities of daily living much more easier.
Cutting your toenails.
That too, right? You know, everything that we do in day-to-day life, you know, involves body movement.
Yes,
I mean, that's how we go about our lives. You know, it
yes.
involves movement of the body, movement of the muscles and the joints. So it's very important that we stretch to help promote this, you know, really
how
positive.
How many times we have difficulties tying our shoelaces?
Right.
Right.
Or we need the shoe horn to help us put our shoe on. But you know, stretching
it tells us something.
Yeah, helps us, and you know, we will be able to perform those tasks much more easier when your muscles are trained to stretch a lot further than normal, or you know, get in the habit. You know, also, you know, stretching as well. You know, when we stretch before we do some intense physical activity, you know, is helpful because it really prepares the muscles for work, thereby, you know, reducing the risk of injury. So you're kind of waking those muscles up through stretching and saying, hey, you know, get up, it's time to work. So that, you know, injuries are reduced. Are less because the muscle knows, okay, if something's going to happen or take place, you know, and stretching's a good
So a person
way to
runs a
promote
marathon, it's always a good idea to stretch before.
Yes.
How about after the marathon? You try to stretch too?
Yeah, you know, you should stretch before and after, but what a lot of studies say is that you shouldn't necessarily stretch cold. So what you should do is you should maybe, you know, get your heart going, do a little bit of movement, some light physical activity, and then stretch, because your muscles are much more responsive when it has moved a little bit. And of course, you know, after you run that marathon, you're going to want to stretch as well, because that's a ton of body and muscle movement. So you want to stretch those muscles out to kind of just cool them down, you know, reduce that, you know, swelling, increase that blood flow to those muscles, and, you know, thereby, you know, you can reduce a lot of that muscle soreness that will follow a high intensity activity like a marathon or anything, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, although many of our viewers, retirees out there, may not necessarily be doing marathons, but this all applies basically. Exercise, stretch beforehand and after, perhaps.
I think general practice, yes, it is definitely important. But again, we want to do a little bit of activity before we stretch. You know, it could be something simple, just kind of maybe jogging in place a little bit, or, you know, just maybe walking a short distance back and forth before you do those stretching, just to kind of, like I said, wake those muscles up and just kind of tell them, hey, you know, it's time, you know, to work.
Okay. So how do you get the most out of your exercise, these types of stretching exercise routine?
You know, I think for stretching, it's very customized in that, you know, you have to stretch how you feel most comfortable. So sometimes, you know, you may have to perform some of the stretches. You can do many of the stretches either sitting, lying, or standing. You know, it's whatever your body feels most comfortable. You know your body best. So if something, of course, if you try to perform a stretch and it causes too much pain, of course you're not going to want to do that. But, you know, you're going to want to find the most comfortable position, you know, to stretch, whether that be sitting in a chair or laying down, you know, stretching your legs or your arms. You know, like I said, there's a number of stretches that can be performed sitting, lying, and or standing. So it's kind of just finding that regimen that your body is comfortable with without pushing yourself to a point where, you know, you risk injury. So again, you know your body best, so you want to just go ahead and, you know, do the stretches that you feel most comfortable with, and, you know, adjusting it and modifying it to your comfort level where you're not overexerting yourself.
Okay. Are there some other tips that you can suggest with regards to stretching? Or?
You know, like I said, I think, you know, with stretching, it's important that, you know, you do stretch your whole body. You know, it's a head to toe thing. You don't want to just concentrate on certain muscles unless there's absolutely some pain in your arms and you want to kind of take a little bit more time to focus on that area. You can, you know, your biceps or triceps, you know, your large muscles in your arms, you can. But I think overall, general practice, you know, you really should just kind of stretch your whole body from your head to toe, you know, starting with your neck, moving your way, shoulders, arms, your hips, down to your legs, and finally your feet and ankles. I think it's just really
So if there's pain in a particular part of your body, you still want to stretch that?
Yeah, you do want to stretch it, because the pain, by stretching, you're going to send a little bit more of that blood to that part of the body that hurts, that muscle. So, that's going to help with the pain. But again, what's comfortable to you, general practice, you should hold your stretches, maybe 15 to 60 seconds. But, whatever's most comfortable for you, that's what you want to do. You have to use your body as your best.
I guess you have to be consistent, so you don't do it just once a week or you got to do it regularly in a sense.
Yeah, general recommendation, they say, you should just, and then stretching doesn't have to take a lot of time. I mean, everybody could take 10 minutes out of their day to perform some stretching exercises, but you do want to do it consistently 2 to 3 times a week at least to get the most benefits out of stretching. So again, it's all about that muscle movement and training those muscles, muscle memory to perform those movements. So, if you do it consistently and repetitively, it becomes easy for your body to do that. And then, of course, when if your regimen starts to get you get bored of it and you want to do new stretches, by all means, implement a new routine just to keep things lively.
So you think someday I might be able to do the split?
I don't know. I mean, you know what? There are some seniors that can perform crazy, body movements. But, if you absolutely wanted to try to work on those splits every day, you just might be able to, I can't do the splits, but you are more than welcome to try.
That takes a lot of stretching.
It sure does. But hey, if you, small steps, and maybe if you did it every day, like they recommend, and you keep at it, your legs can kind of split a little bit further every day.
Sounds painful to me.
It might very well be.
Well, we have some slides here, that you brought, having to do with, I guess we'll start with the lower body. Start with the lower body stretches, and maybe you can kind of share a little bit about what are we looking at and what are we doing here?
Okay, so the woman in this picture, she is performing, actually this is a shoulder roll.
A shoulder roll.
Yeah, so she's addressing her, upper body, her arm, trunk, neck region.
Okay.
So what she's doing in this picture, you can see she's sitting on a chair, and what you can see, and it's hard because it's a stagnant picture, but you can just, what she says, you're going to want to lift your shoulders up, back, and down. So it's a 3 movement exercise, and you want to repeat that exercise up, back, down, maybe about 10 times.
And this is a stretch rather than a muscle development?
It's a stretch because you're really, when you're performing this particular stretch, you want to really make sure you get those shoulders as high up as possible. You want to go back as far as possible and down to a relaxed starting position. So it's always important when you do not only this exercise, but all the stretching exercises, that you really stretch that range. So you want to make sure, you want to lift your arms or shoulders as high as you can, as far back as you can, and down. So that's what she's doing there. So that's a shoulder roll. So that's a pretty basic, easy exercise.
And how about this next picture here?
Okay. So what this is a neck side stretch. So you can see the woman, has her left hand and she's grabbing the top of her head and she's just pulling her head towards her shoulder. So you'll feel that stretch in your shoulder area, neck region. You can do that on the left side. You want to hold that one, I would say, for about 5 seconds. You can try go 10 if you feel comfortable and it feels good. And then you want to do this, the exact same stretch on the right side. So if we were to reverse her motion, you do your right hand on top of your head, pulling your head towards your right shoulder.
Looks like she's pulling her hair.
It does, kind of.
Okay, and then this one here.
Okay.
How about
this? So this is another good, shoulder, neck region stretch. So what she's doing is simply just bringing her right ear towards her right shoulder. So she's kind of turning her neck. So you can feel the stretch in your neck region, and then holding for a good, 10 seconds would work. returning to the center and then going and doing it to your
other
left.
side.
And it feels really good.
Stretching.
I like the neck stretches.
And it's sort of,
It
and
relieves a
you
lot
should
of
you should
tension.
feel some pain there
Yes.
in a sense to really pull it.
Right. So when you perform any of the stretching exercises, you want to make sure that you only stretch as far as you feel some resistance, and then you want to stop at that point.
Okay.
You don't want to go further than that resistance. Okay, so in the next photo, the same woman is performing a shoulder stretch. So this one's a little bit tricky, but if you were to bring, in this photo, she's bringing up her left arm onto her right shoulder. So she's going across her body, and then she's going to pull her elbow towards her right shoulder. So you should feel that stretch right in the shoulder,
In the shoulder
region.
area.
Yes.
I see.
You know, the shoulder stretches, and why I have so many of them, are really important because within our shoulder joint alone, there's a number of muscles that come out from the shoulder. So the shoulders are very important for overall arm movement. And, you know, we all use our arms to get dressed, you know, to perform those basic day-to-day tasks, to go to the restroom, to drive, to prepare meals. So the shoulders are very important. So again, if we were to switch this exercise, we can do the same thing on the right side. So I would just do the opposite. I would take my right hand, place it on my left shoulder. Using my left hand, I would push.
You push.
Yep, my right elbow up to that left shoulder.
Okay.
Here we have an overhead reach. So again, you're sitting comfortably in a chair, and you're going to want to inhale as you interlace your hands on your lap, and then you're going to exhale. So you're going to breathe out as you raise your arms overhead, and then you're going to repeat that stretch 10 times.
And there's stretching there?
Yeah.
Where's the stretching in your
The
back
stretching,
muscle?
yeah, the stretching you feel in your back, the
In your back.
trapezius muscle. So that's that upper back muscle you're
Upper back
feeling.
muscle. I see.
Again, closely in
Okay.
location to your shoulder
Okay.
joints. So
okay.
good
So when
stretch.
you do this, you really should try to push it as far back as you can.
Correct. You
Yeah.
should until you feel
Feel
that resistance.
resistance,
where
yeah.
there's a little bit of push pulling,
Yes.
and then you just want to stop right
Stop
there.
right
Hold
there.
it.
Hold it for
Hold it
for a few seconds.
5 to 10 seconds, whatever you feel most comfortable, and then you want to release it.
Okay.
And repeat the stretch, you
Yeah.
know, 10 times, or if, you know, you can
Okay.
only do it 5 or
Right.
6, you know,
Right.
that's fine.
Okay, okay. So these are all very
Yeah.
useful for, this is the upper limb.
Upper limb.
Upper limb, yeah.
So good for your arm movement,
Okay.
trunk movement.
Right. Okay, so that's good. So now we had some other ones that had to do with the lower limbs.
Yes.
And tell us about how those fit in. We got the first slide here.
So, yeah, so a lot of the lower limb stretches, you know, we want to focus here now on your hips, your knee, and your ankle. So this first one, this is a seated hip lift. This is actually an exercise that I use a lot with our Kupuna at Luna Lilo Home. It's sitting in a chair, as you can see that the woman is doing, and you're going to place your hands on either side of the chair for support, and you're just going to slowly raise your hip off the chair, and you're going to hold that for about 10 to 20 seconds, and then return to your starting position.
And where's the tension then?
You know, it's funny because with the hip exercise, you're not really feeling the tension, right, as
Yeah.
much. But it really is focused, it's concentrated in your hip
Right in
region.
your hip.
Yeah. So a lot of times with these hip ones, you might not necessarily feel the pain like you would maybe in the arms or the shoulders, but, you know, the hip is getting exercise.
Some
and, you know,
pulling.
yeah, some pulling. You know, it is getting some movement there.
So you really need to lift your leg
Yep.
over the other leg.
Yeah, as
and
much as yep.
as much as possible.
Possible,
and
correct.
Basically,
Yeah, what's comfortable to
Yeah.
you. And then again, you know, you're going to do the same to the left side. You know,
Yeah.
you're going to lift that left leg up over
I
your
see.
right leg and just kind of hold it there and
Okay.
then return. Hip stretches are very important because the hips are kind of like the core of your body. So, you know, you want strong hips, which help us kind of stabilize ourselves when we walk or, you know, in our balance. The hips are very important
Yeah.
muscles to exercise and stretch.
Okay,
So in the
okay.
next image, we're moving down to our leg muscle.
Okay.
So this is the large back leg muscle, the front leg muscle, the quadricep. So this is a standing quadricep stretch. So as you can see, you're going to stand behind a chair for support, of course, and for safety. And you're going to hold on to the chair with your left hand. And then you're going to bend your knee and grasp your right ankle. And you're going to just pull your leg gently towards your bottom. And then you're going to hold that stretch for about 10 to 20 seconds, and then you're going to repeat the exercise with your other leg. So in this particular stretching exercise, you're going to feel the tension in the front part of your leg, the big quadriceps, that's your large front leg muscle. This is a back, very important, again, for our trunk strength and, overall balance and core strength. What this woman is doing, she's standing with her legs about a shoulder width apart, or what's comfortable to you. She has her hands clasping, she's clasping right above her bottom, and then she has her neck back, and she's just leaning back. So you can feel that stretch in your back.
You feel it in your back.
Yeah, you'll feel it in your back.
Not your stomach, huh?
No. You're going to feel it mostly in your back. But of course, your abdominal muscles are getting stretched as well, but the stretch is mostly concentrated towards the back. So you want to hold that position for about 10 seconds, and you're going to exhale as you return. So, you're going to inhale as you go back, exhale as you return to the starting position. And you probably want to repeat this exercise 3 times minimum, but if you feel like you want to do more, by all means, I wouldn't do more than 10. We're moving down to our ankles, so you want to sit. It's a sitting exercise. You can sit comfortably in a chair, and then you can see the woman has her right leg is kind of resting on her left leg, and you're just going to simply make circles with your ankle. One direction, clockwise, and then counterclockwise. Probably about 10 circles. But while you're doing this too, you can also feel the stretch in your hamstring, and your leg as well, your thigh region. You can feel it as well. And then the final exercise, lower limb exercise, is a knee to chest. Again, this one is it's pretty simple stretching exercise. So you're just going to grab your knee and bring it towards your chest, and you're just going to hold that position for about 10 seconds, and then return to your starting position, and then you're going to repeat the exercise with your left leg.
I see.
This one's very good at the hip, again, large leg muscle area. Yeah. Like I said, there's a number of stretches. These are just 10 of
right.
50. So
But I guess too, viewers out there seeing those photos may not remember all of them, but perhaps they might be able to get some additional advice and suggestions from others with regards to what specific ones they should start out with. If they're in a day program, or maybe if they got some home care type assistance, or I don't know if there's information from other sources that they can find.
If an older adult, is able to use the computer, lots of resources there. You can simply search, exercise or stretching exercises for older adults. I think the photos that you saw came from a website that was eldergym.com that had a number of exercises. And like you mentioned, a lot of these adult day programs, home health agencies, have resources, whether it be through a physical therapist or some other health professional that can offer a customized, exercise program suited to
sometimes
their needs.
I think even physicians today might be able to provide you with some.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, and I think they definitely do have those resources as well. Physicians could definitely do that, but a lot of times, the physical therapists are the ones that do provide like a home exercise program for seniors. So maybe the person might have so many sessions with a physical therapist, but when the treatment is done, a physical therapist will issue them some home exercises, which will include a lot of the carryover of what they worked with the person on, the various exercises, but in addition to, these simple stretching exercises, which will be helpful to maintain the progress that was gained during the physical therapy, the treatment session, or, whatever it is.
Right. Okay. Well, we also have a lot of people that join exercise groups, and are there some exercise groups that are specifically focused around stretching?
Yeah, it's so interesting because, yoga is a big thing now, and, years ago, even when years ago for me, I'm still quite young, but yoga wasn't as popular as it is. But you see a lot of these yoga studios popping up. People like yoga because of the meditation aspect to it, where you can reduce and relieve that tension through purposeful breathing and stretching. But, yoga definitely does use a lot of stretching, with the various poses that you're doing. Those are all, stretches. When you're doing those poses, you can feel your body really stretching and you can feel that pull on the muscles. And in addition, like I said, that the yoga, you incorporate the breathing with the stretches. So that's where you kind of get that meditative breathing, where you reduce a lot of that tension and stress that kind of builds up. And, yoga, I've seen more and more now in senior activity resources. There's some DVDs, available for purchase that have yoga for seniors.
Is that the only one that you know of?
And I know a big, a lot of times I go to various, long-term care facilities around the island. I noticed that the Kupuna or the residents, they love their Tai Chi exercise.
Tai Chi.
And Tai Chi is a very good exercise.
Isn't that more of a balance sort of thing?
It is more of a balance, but you do a lot of the stretching too. You do a lot of bending and twisting movements. So, Tai Chi, yes, does work on balance, but, I've observed Tai Chi classes taking place totally seated, like a seated Tai Chi exercise. So through that, it's a lot more stretching.
Okay, so that's a good thing. So I think we can direct our viewers to those two resources as
Definitely.
well. Okay, I think we're just about out of time right now, but perhaps, given all that information that we shared with our viewers out there, you can provide them with if there was just one last tip that you had to provide them, what would that be?
I think, stretching, like exercise, is very important to maintain your physical and mental health. In addition, stretching and exercise really helps to offset, the pace of decline that we all experience through normal aging, keeping your muscles and joints moving well into your later years of life, really does help, in your day-to-day activities, and it really contributes to preventing, injury and reducing the risk of falls, which is very important for seniors, to stay active, stay physically fit, and really maintain that good muscle tone, through stretching and exercise, and really maintaining good balance. So, you're less at a risk to fall, which, we all know falling, is really detrimental to a senior's well-being.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you
so
for having
stretching
me.
and flexibility so that we can remain limber,
Yes.
Minimize less likelihood for injury. So thank you, everybody, for watching Kupuna Connections television series on this topic on stretching and flexibility with Jill Martinez. Again, see you again next week. Aloha.